welcome back to the Wolf HunterZ channel, y'all. My name is John of the Wolf HunterZ, and next to me, dang, she's looking hot today. It is
Dolly, hey.
Or as I like to call her, Lady Hotness.
Thank you.
That's not a real nickname, but it fits. It's
you.
fitting. Anyways, if you look beneath this video, you'll see a description box filled with links. Check out those links, guys.
Go check them out.
That's right. We're about to react to some, not music today, actually.
Ooh.
It's an interesting selection. You'll see what we're up to next. Today's request is brought to us by a unique, wonderful, and passionate individual. Love this man. It is Kenneth! And Kenneth, you've been one of the leading voices in the Iris and the Games community. We love you. You're awesome. Let's read this email. DA Games. The Games. It says, Will's third Iris album just turned 2 as of today, meaning August 23rd. August 23rd. So I thought it would be fun for y'all to check out his video where he just talks about Iris and what plans he's got for it and celebrates this milestone. It's a different side for him. I think you guys will like it.
Ooh.
This is awesome. I actually really love to get to know artists like on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And these kinds of interviews are a great way to do that.
Absolutely.
And you're very passionate about this. You know, this is why I know that you truly love this project. Is because not only do you want us to experience the product, the music, but you even want us to know the mind behind it. So thank you so much for that, man. It's amazing. We love you, bro. Before we get into this interview with Will Ryan, the genius behind these musical projects, we need your help, guys. If y'all love Will, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and definitely, most assuredly, comment below, guys.
Our third album from Iris, Dawn of the Dimetrix, was released. What started off as just one simple album project turned into 3 behemoths, all the albums coming together and clashing into a giant story that I could have never imagined. I make this video because I didn't feel like putting out a tweet did any justice whatsoever for how much love we've received thus far with the 2 years of this album happening. And it all started during the pandemic, a time of uncertainty, a time of loneliness, a time of craziness, and it was a huge outlet for me. But I would have never ever thought in a million years that I would turn everything that I conceptualized from the beginning into the grandest story that I've written. And it's still going. So on the cusp of the holiday ending, we had a bunch of people remind us. I had no idea. It's been that long that I don't even know my own release dates. But people spread their love across Twitter, showing fan art, appreciation posts. I've seen everything. I've been so overwhelmed with the response that... And that's not even a bad thing. It's amazing how many of you followed us through this album and supported us, as it seemed to have stemmed with a lot of people. When I created this album, it was a huge cathartic output for me during a time where things were very, very uncertain. The album itself was a massive chance to get a lot off my chest. I had traumas stemming back decades, long before DA Games or Iris or practically anything that you'd know now was made. And since resting those demons, it's helped me grow as a person. The album did a lot more for me than I could have ever hoped for. But what I didn't bank on was that this would turn into a full-fledged story. And it started with literally that album. Because previously beforehand, like Heart of an Artist and Goliath's Throne originally were contained as just separate albums from each other with different stories. Or should I say meanings? They weren't really full-fledged stories. Goliath's Throne had a bit of input, but that was when I had a chance to blossom a little more. My mind is so fucking messed up. I'm still coming off from a holiday, but I want to say thank you. Because with Heart of an Artist, it was totally different in its meaning compared to what it is now. It started off as being like a laboratory experiment to make hallucinogenic drugs. To bring people exposure therapy through traumas and overcome their trials, descending into that hallucinogenic and ascending from it. Super cryptic, not really talked about a whole lot, and was hoping to kind of leave it there. But then when I made Goliath's Throne, things started to get a little bit crazier. We actually had an emphasis on something. And when the pandemic hit, I honestly thought I wouldn't actually make an album after that. It would just be singles to release out of catharsis. But I had a lot on my plate. There was a lot that I wanted to get off my chest. There was a lot that I wanted to talk about, and that album did it for me. And since then, it turned into a massive story. Finding a way to make Goliath's Throne and Heart of an Artist make sense and fit into Dawn of the Dimetrix has been nothing shy of a blessing, because now we have a huge adventure ahead of us that have so many angles to think of. And that's because when we were building up for the transmissions for Dawn of the Dimetrix and Jaws of Dawn and everything like that, the fan response was insane. I can't tell you how many times we'd make DA Games merch and Iris merch or pretty much anything, and Iris just tends to trumpet so much. And that I never thought would happen. Iris is not, of course, a very popular thing, but for everybody who has had a chance to explore through this whole thing, has shown devotion beyond anything, is inspiring to say the least. I couldn't imagine being here. DA Games will always and forever be one of my babies. It's always going to be our big sauce of how we can do this in the first place. So I gotta count my blessings where I can. But if I had a choice in a heartbeat, I would be making stories forever. From a hallucinogenic drug-induced thing like Heart of an Artist to becoming the symbol of archival for the entire galaxy was something I'd never anticipated. The Iris needed another purpose. It needed something. I had created a symbol alongside Iris, which we now know as the Dimetrix. It was a trial run to see if it would work. I was going through a very designer-centric environment, and I was thinking, you know, spill anything out you can, see what sticks. And when we showed it, there was a lot of people who really liked the Dimetrix, but unanimously, the Iris was appreciated a lot more. And I thought, you know what? That's incredible. So maybe the Dimetrix can stand within its symbolism, its exact creation. It was meant to be a copy of Iris, a new Iris. And the reception to the Iris symbol being the most iconic thing is like, yep, this needs to have some story. Now the two are fighting. How does that happen? And
whoa, dude, this is so cool. I didn't realize he was writing this based on his own experiences and traumas, you know?
Yeah.
That's really wild. And how he's like doing like workshopping of these symbols and seeing what people think. Like, he's super smart, man.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, that's why he built this channel up so crazy. Like, that's awesome, man.
Oof.
That's so cool.
luckily during that point, I'd had so many things to explore with villain arcs and universes and all that. And I thought, oh my god, well, who's the hero? Goliath. We already had him right there, Goliath's throne. That was him. And of course, creating Abram and his AI assistant Dovacom has been really fun. Wasn't at the time. I think when I was creating the character, there was a lot that I needed to think about. And it was literally the embodiment of everything that I could hate about a system, a scenario, a person. But Abram, as much as I could despise the rat, got me to think very critically going forward about even my own thoughts, and that's what got me to do non-biased writing. As an extension of art, it's always apparent when an artist puts in their own flavor of the world. But one thing you rarely see nowadays, or maybe you do, but it's so hidden, is artists even challenging their own thoughts. With the iris being the symbol of archival and seeing every possible outcome from every different side, it would be a disservice to not think on that spectrum too. So now if I have a thought, I challenge it too. And that's what's drawn people in. Wow. Abram has empathy points. Cool. Same with Goliath. I wish I could talk about Goliath so much more, but I'm working on him. And now with the new reveal of his voice actor, Damon Allums, that man literally brought my character to life. And as soon as I heard those voice stems, I kind of teared up. That voice has been trapped inside my head for that many years, and to hear it actually out there was insane. And previewing it at MomoCon when the concert was happening and hearing the people's reactions was incredible. I was at the back, and I think you saw me coming out, but I was very emotional. I fucking burst when I was back there. And of course, the announcement of Heart of an Artist Resurrection too. So there's that. Never thought that we'd make realms. That's another thing. But when that wormhole opened in the beginning of at least the Valentine section, something needed to stick. And the best part about that was when we finally got to recognize the depths and recognize Nidoria. When I create characters, I never have a full premise of them first. I like to lay them out on the table and see how they mix with the other characters first. What would I do with them? So when I created the artificial intelligence of this world, Dovacom, he wasn't even really meant to be as much of a friend and companion to Abram as originally intended. He was just meant to serve as a tool, and he still is. But Abram needed a friend, and the only one that could ever step into his father's footsteps at that time was the AI. He was built there to be with Abram, his only friend, really. And so to see the two together in connection on social media is fucking awesome. And of course, what would happen to this dynamic duo and the crazy stuff that happens down the line is it's gonna write itself now. It's incredible. But of course, obviously, the main emphasis of this entire thing, the main character we want to focus on is Goliath. This one is the hero of the story. This is everything that I could ever picture as strength against the odds. I didn't have an outlet for strength against the odds until Goliath came along. He was everything that inspired me to push against, even ignorantly, the odds. All the trials and tribulations, the trials by fire, everything that we could ever go through in life, I put into Goliath, knowing if he can do it, then I can too. Overall, though...
That is deep.
That is really deep.
Wow. Strength to push against the odds. This is really unraveling the layers of the meaning behind the story for me. I was really just thinking of it as fiction. That's awesome fiction, but the symbolism is really powerful.
Yeah, it makes you appreciate it that much more.
Oh, shoot. So Will Ryan is a genius. That's what I'm learning. He legit is.
This whole thing turned into a galactic story of unprecedented amounts. And then even exploring into places like Pandorium, my anthology series. You guys saw Solitude back then, and now we're making games. With the conception of Hammerscorn Media, now we're able to kind of envision little mini games for our community to enjoy and invest their time in. I always thought of these things as having different mediums for people to enter through, because not everybody's gonna like an album, not everybody's gonna like a story, not everybody's gonna like a game, but there's always a subset of people who can enter through there. So I always thought a game would be so cool to have. So now we get to do that. And obviously our first game being Solitude subject placement. It's our first endeavor into the gaming scene, and we're already making strides in this little community fun experience that we're hopefully envisioning even larger. That will obviously be talked about later, but now's not the time for Solitude. I mean, this is Iris. This is the 2nd year anniversary of Dawn of the Dimetrix. And unlike the other albums, this one started a grand scale story unlike anything I've written. It's an endeavor, it's a challenge, but I love this. And even if I didn't have the resources available for me to do stuff like Iris, I'd probably still be doing it. Because I try put it down, I try to work on DA, I try to do something else. It's always on the back of my mind. The same with the Will Ryan Originals, Pandorium Anthology. It's just where my heart resides, and I don't think I could actually leave it. So thanks for every bit of support that Iris has ever gone through. I owe my life to keep going, to be able to keep doing this, to envision a means to shock people, to put people on suspense, excitement, challenge. Just everything that's happened through this is not in vain. Everything has been so cool. So happy anniversary, Dawn of the Dimetrix. 2 years, and a lot has happened. And a lot's gonna happen. Announcement time. So let's start off with obviously the first thing, Heart of an Artist, Resurrection. Yes! It was our most iconic album. It was the first album that we did for Iris, which was originally just supposed to be a DA Games album, which turned into this whole thing. It was early days for me. I was not the best at making mixes, engineering, mastering, you name it. The ideas were there, they just could never be envisioned properly. And I'd waited so long to see if I can envision a moment where I can give these songs justice. And now they are. We actually have Why Do We Hold an SOS currently on the Will Ryan Originals channel in Resurrection form, with an album slated for winter. Progress on that's running smoothly. We just done Draw the Line, As the Lights Go Out, now we're moving on to Kings and Queens. This whole month of September is going to be solely focused on that, which means Flash Drive SSD will be, for anybody who's into DA games, will be for next year. But I hope to learn everything with Iris and just put that back through DA games. The two kind of talk together so much. So Heart of an Artist Resurrection, it's coming along super nicely. The story's working with it. The music's doing great. I think we're gonna go places in winter, basically. And anybody who knows Iris thus far also knows there's going to be a book. Well, not just a book, a series of them. And the first one that we're working on is the Behemoth arc, exactly where Goliath is. It's taking a lot longer than I once envisioned. simply because for every little thing that happens in the story, something needs to make sense, and I've built a whole world that needs to make sense to some degree. So a lot of the happenings is cross-referencing everything else to a point where, okay, does it make sense? Okay, we can keep going. If not, just change what happened without changing the bullet points, because everybody knows the bullet points to a degree, at least about 15 to 20% of them. Like I say, it's that big, but we can afford to do so much within that and connect the dots in the best way we can. So it's very fine work. As it stands, currently there are about 8 to 10 fully written pages of the prologue with all the bullet points laid out. 15 to 20 pages probably is going to be where we're striding for. So it's long, it's big, but hopefully it's worth it. And that's the Behemoth arc. Hopefully you get to see more about Goliath going forward and his journey on his side. Now, back to gaming. So as I talked about, Hammerscorn Media is my new gaming studio. It's small, it's tight-knit, but our team has been working very hard on some cool stuff. And of course, our first project being Solitude Subject Placement, that has exceeded expectations on our end. We have plans. But with that happening, and we know Iris has had its fair share of experiences over time. And if you remember Jaws of Dawn, how cool would it be to have its own program? And so we're happy to announce Jaws of Dawn's Behemoth update. The same adventure you all know and love, with so many more customizable features and new challenges and strategies to think of, with whole new visuals too, and takes out all the riff-raff math that goes into it. More lore, more design, more gaming. Just generally everybody gets to play this, and we're going to be starting it off as a community night thing in our server. Whenever we have links, people can come in. We just give those out very sparingly. But it's also go towards community nights, and Jaws of Dawn is a heavily requested return. So the Behemoth update should really fix a lot of that. And we hope to see that sometime around summer 2024. That's Jaws of Dawn. But then, obviously, there was another game announcement that we wanted to do. So it was originally a community night thing. But Jaws of Vegala. The idea is set. There is a lot of things we want to do with it. Think Mario Party with real-time strategy like Command and Conquer. When the Iris gets taken away from Vegala of Infinity, it loses its stronghold in Hitherfall and vanishes, ending up in the other realm on the other side, Yondrathal. Now exposed to several of the Vegalian subsystems, they are now watching and curious. Several armies are sent out to search for what's inside Jaws of Vegala, but only one army will prevail. That is set to be somewhere around autumn-winter time of next year as well. Next year, we've got a whole lot planned. Don't be surprised if we have to push back a few things, but that is our goal. Considering how fast we've been going lately, we'll see. There have been other ideas that we've been circulating around. How could we make Dovacom an experience? How can we make Biobond an experience? You know, all these cool things. There's always a magic brain moment, and believe me, I've had a ton of those lately. But it's all to set out in due time. Hopefully, you'll see it. If you want more updates on this, I would heavily recommend subscribing to Will Ryan Originals and following Will D.A. Ryan on Twitter, just to keep up to date with this whole story. There's also a whole playlist which keeps the Iris chronological cycle in order as well as it can. There's a lot of dead ends still.
Oh, nice.
But if you're curious about everything, go check out the playlist. It's in the description below. Upon releasing these games, we're hoping to have free downloadable games on Itch.io with the chance to donate. You don't have to if you don't want to. Every donation's really appreciated, but it would help go towards the production of the games in the future. But zero pressure, because we could just work on DA. Just, I don't know, maybe like 10 more FNAF songs, I guess. But Itch.io, you're probably going to see these down the line. We're going to start them off in our community Discord server as experiences for community nights, to hopefully evolve on that and release them for Itch.io release for whenever you guys want to just play it on your own accord. That also is the same with Solitude Subject Placement. We wish we could talk about that more, and wish we could talk about so much else more, but that would be revealing too much, and there's already so much. And of course, none of that could have ever happened without your devotion, support, and just overall inspiring force. Again, as I say, Iris just sweeps the board whenever we have a lot of announcements. There's so much hype for it. It's so cool, and it keeps me going, and hopefully you guys get to see exactly what we're making down the line. I know I'm not as super crazy as my previous videos. I'm very tired. I got a lot of work. I've just come back from flying several places. I'm actually going away in a few days again, and then I've got a whole album to do, several games. But rest assured, I'm in a mentally well place. I'm very happy, and I cannot wait to show you everything that's going down the line. Words on text just couldn't do this justice, so I really wanted to make a video. To everyone who has followed us so much, thank you. You're inspiring. In more words than many. To see some of you come up to me at conventions and talk about your stories with the album. I mean, I get worked up a lot emotionally, but just hearing that people resonate with this was... Because again, I'm a creator that didn't feel like could resonate with anyone. And it just shows how human we all are deep down.
That's so
and
cool.
This life can't be taken for granted. So when people come up and share their stories, I'm blessed that you could find confinement and trust in us. It could have been from anyone. And the fact is, it still can. Artists across the whole globe are inspiring so many, and there's no shortage of it. So dare I say, I will never say that I would be ever the only one in anybody's life. But to be a part of that experience alone, even if minimal, it means the world that you could trust in us that way. And I don't want to ruin that. So that's why there's a whole lot more work putting into this. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait to show you all. I know I sound like a broken record, but once again, thank you so much. It means everything. Right, I gotta get back to working on this stuff. There's probably gonna be some DA game stuff down the line as well. Again, recap, Heart of an Artist Resurrection coming out in winter. The games that we plan coming out next year, sort of the spring, summer, and winter periods of time. The book is coming along super well. Please subscribe to Will Ryan Originals if you want to keep up to date on all of this. And check out Will DA Ryan on Twitter. And of course, for anything DA Games related, check out DA Games Official on Twitter. That is not stopping. We are still going with that. Very busy period, but I'm Will of DA Games and Will Ryan Originals. Just, again, fuck. How many times can I say thank you before it's in there, you know? I'm sure you know that. And I hope you know that. Because we're going to keep going as long as we can. All right, thanks, guys. Peace out.
No.
Bye, Will.
Wave bye to
I'm waving bye to Will. Oh my gosh. That's amazing, dude. They're working on so many things. I had no idea.
They really are.
Like, okay, I didn't know they were making video games themselves. I thought they were just playing games and kind of like reacting to games and doing all that. That's so cool.
That's wild.
They're really like chasing their dreams, you know? I love seeing that, dude. And Will is so down to earth.
And so encouraging.
He's so humble.
Yeah.
Wow. What else is there?
Humble.
Humble. All right, amazing. Kenneth, thank you so much for this, bro. You're such a genius yourself for wanting to share this with us.
Yeah.
And that just gives us so much more appreciation. Like, now that I know, like, Goliath represents almost like the underdog, you know, which is funny because in the story of David versus Goliath, David is the underdog.
Yeah.
But now Goliath is the underdog. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Just, I love it. It's amazing. Kenneth, we love you, bro. You're awesome.
You.
Everybody else, thank you for hanging out with us. If you had a good time, hit that subscribe button. Join the Wolf HunterZ family. We'll see you guys again very soon.
And if you want to request your own song, click those links in the description box down below. We'll react to your favorite music.
We sure will, guys. Stay tuned and stay positive, y'all.
We love you.
Bye!
I just wanna bang my girl.